Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to dive into emotional and mental abuse. Like I stated in my previous video that I posted, like my little update, I posted it a couple of days ago, that I would be doing a little series on this topic, as well as touching on a couple other topics that hit really close to home for me personally, because I have dealt with these things and I think it's important for people to talk about them. Aren't really talked about growing up. It's really important for me being an adult, but also I want to share my knowledge and the things that I've learned with people close to me and whoever is watching this video that may potentially be dealing with the same exact thing or have dealt with the exact same thing I have dealt with. But it is just really important to be able to spot these type of people who come and go out of our lives so often, whether that's with work or, you know, friends, family, whoever it may be. I think these things that I'm getting ready to share are very important. So if you guys are interested in doing like a deep dive on emotional abuse, what it is, talking about how to spot it and other things related, then go ahead and keep on watching. Before I share my story on my toxic relationship, I think it's important to address certain things. So that is why first and foremost, I am starting off with this video, emotionally and mentally abusive. What is that? If I look down, it's because I do have notes. For those of you who may not know, I do go to counseling personally. That's not something that I openly talk about with people, but it is what it is. We're here, let's address it. So a lot of the things that I'm sharing here with you guys is coming from somebody with a degree in the background. These are my personal notes that I have taken while being in a consultation with this person. With that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump in. What is emotional and mental abuse? A lot of the times it's not even taught. Growing up, we don't know what it is. It's not something like counting your ABCs or your 1, 2, 3s, you know, like our parents don't teach us these things. It's not like physical abuse. See it. Physical abuse is very black and white. You can see when somebody has been physically abused. Mental abuse is completely different, and it can be extremely hard to spot if you don't know the signs of it. Emotional abuser is someone who is trying to gain control. That's all they care about. They want control over any and everything, whether that be a conversation or a situation. They have to be control over every little thing. And in my experience dating a person like this, I dealt with this all the time. It didn't matter what it was. It was literally every little thing. It didn't matter. That person had to be in control of every situation. Someone who is abusive cannot handle their own feelings at all. They can't handle normal, like quote unquote, I guess, normal everyday things that a healthy person would deal with. They want control over any situation. In my situation, again, like many others who deal with it, it is over a person. They cannot handle not having control in the situation. Go ahead and say this. The point of any type of abuse is to have control. That is what the other person wants. That is what they crave. And if they do not have it, then it results in, obviously, abuse. Someone who is emotionally abusing someone would look like brainwashing, breaking down someone's self-esteem, self-confidence, and really getting in their head to try and control their thoughts and feelings on something. Now, this is something that I feel like I already knew, but a lot of people don't know that emotional abuse is not protected in the court of law like physical abuse is. As humans with emotional abuse, when you say I've been emotionally abused, people can't really relate to that, I guess, in a sense, if you've never been through it. Let me say that, because we can't physically see the scars or the damage that this person has done. It's all mental, you know, it's all inside of us. And it creates problems that will affect us the rest of our lives. So going forward in any type of relationship, it will always affect us. So something that I have learned while being in counseling is that someone who is an emotional abuser was someone who was emotionally abused as a child. Their behavior, no matter what it is, was learned when they were a child. They saw it growing up, whether that be their parents, whoever raised them, the people that they were around as children and growing up. They saw this type of behavior, and in their minds they picked it up, and now that they're adults, they deem it as normal because this is what they saw growing up. It was quote unquote normal behavior for them. I also learned that the percentage of people who are born with this mental illness is extremely low. Vast majority of this is taught by, again, when they were a child, and you know, all throughout their youth they saw this. So it's not really something that people are born with. Not saying that it can't ever happen, but the percentage of that being true is extremely low. For example, their parents neglected them, you know, in return they neglect people, you know, as their adult self. Another thing that they are constantly doing is testing and pushing your boundaries. They cannot stand the word no, and they will not take no as an answer. They're constantly like pushing at you and like nitpicking and jabbing you, all the things, try and get whatever it is that they want out of you. Let's say that the abuser wanted to go out to lunch, something as simple as going out to lunch. You could not go out to lunch because you had X, Y, and Z. You might have had to work, you had plans with a friend. Let's just say that, because in this instance, this is a situation that has actually happened to me. I actually had plans with my best friend, and we had planned to go to lunch, and the person who I was with knew that I had made plans with my best friend. I had not seen her in a very long time. This was last year, so we were literally on lockdown. Things were really crazy and hectic. It was planned. I was super excited to go see her, and he calls me, and he, mind you, is blowing up. Like, I literally cannot tell you. He literally called me back to back to back to back to back to back to back and was like, where are you at? Why aren't you answering my calls? He accused me of all kinds of things, cheating, that he heard men in the background. Mind you, we're sitting in a restaurant. I didn't have really good service in the restaurant. So obviously there's gonna be like men and women around in a restaurant. I was accused of cheating and just all kinds of things. Anyway, I had to cut that lunch date with my best friend short because he claimed that he was so sick, and like he was like just so dramatic because I was not physically there with him. He was literally calling me back to back to the point where I couldn't even like have a good time with my friend because I was literally like having him blow up my phone. Like, if you've ever been in a situation where your phone has literally just buzzed from text messages and calls, you don't even have an opportunity to stop and be like, okay, like, you know. And so I'm just casually like, hey, you know, what's wrong? Why are you blowing up my phone? And he was screaming over the phone at me, why aren't you answering any of my effing calls? And just like all types of craziness. So I cut my lunch short with my friend. I drive to him, and as soon as I get there, he's completely fine. Nothing's wrong with him. You know, he's like, while I'm driving there, he's like, you need to get it here because I have nobody to take me to the emergency room, like, and when I left his place, like, he was completely fine. But because I was not there for him to monitor what I was doing, which is a form of emotional abuse, it's extremely controlling, it was a huge problem for him. So that's just an example of that. The abuser's best friend is manipulation. They will manipulate the hell out of you. They really, really will. And they love to do it. I just want to read you guys the definition of manipulation if you aren't 100% sure on what exactly that is. So I just quick Google searched it. The definition of manipulation is the act of manipulating someone or something in a skillful manner. And then to manipulate is to handle or control, influence cleverly or unfairly. They cannot do any of these things. They cannot validate your boundaries, and if you are a person who is not good with setting boundaries, they are literally just going to tear into you and run all over you. Thing again that I have learned is that abusers seek the quote-unquote weak people out. And you're like, what do you mean by weak people? So an abuser sees someone who is kind, loving, caring, somebody who is a empath, somebody who feel things way more deeper, on a deeper level than the average person does. Nothing's wrong with this. They would deem me as highly sensitive. That to them is a very weak person, and that is a target to them. That is a person that they can latch onto and control. Number one, that is the main thing. I will constantly say this throughout this entire video, is they see you, me, if you are just a good person in general, they look at that and they see it as, oh, I can control that person. I can get something out of that person. And they, once they get whatever it is that they want out of you, they will just throw you away, like discard you, like you're literally like trash, like a candy wrapper, literally just out the door. Like seriously, that's just how these people are. They are not healthy at all. And I just want to also say that these people can literally be family members, they can be friends, they do not have to be people just in a romantic relationship. They can be people in your life that you have known all of your life, you know. So really understanding these type of people, you will start to see and pick up on little things and be like, oh, this person is abusing me. Oh, this person is trying to manipulate me. Oh, this person is gaslighting me. You know, you will start to pick up on these things. I have a very strong sense, and I can pick up on it like that now, but in the beginning I definitely could not. So it definitely is a learning process and something you have to continuously practice so you are aware of when these things happen. Next thing that a emotionally abusive person will do is the silent treatment. Now, I could go on and on and on and on and on about the silent treatment, because I guess you can say like my first real like adult relationship was with someone who would do this to me all the time. But this person would literally do this to me all the time, and a abuser loves this just as much as they love manipulating. It is their way of punishing you, in a sense, for whatever it is that they feel like you have done wrong in their eyes. So if you tell them no, they might use the silent treatment. If you literally do something that they want you to do and you stand your ground and say, I'm not going to do that, they will use the silent treatment. It was done to me literally so much. Healthy person, you're like, okay, you're gonna ignore me, like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. But if you're in a relationship with someone, you're gonna be like, well, why the hell aren't you talking to me? Like, why are you're just gonna, literally, it's ignoring you in a sense. Just completely them shutting you out. They literally act like you are a wall. They go silent. You could literally live in the same house with someone like I did, and they will walk past you and act like you're not even in the room. It's really, really, really scary. It's a scary thing, and it's crazy that people like this, but realizing what it is, you know, helps. It's not even like a physical thing. It could literally be over text message, you know, you texting someone and then all of a sudden days go by and you literally don't hear from this person for days. That is a form of emotional abuse. In my recent relationship, I just want to preface by saying, before I even dated this person, my mental health was completely fine. I was not taking any antidepressant medicines and like nothing. I was literally fine. And then once I started dating them is when I was back on my antidepressant medicine, which I hadn't taken in about 2 years. And I started taking them last year when I was dating this person. And then I took it for about the whole 8 months that we were dating. And then obviously after I got out of the relationship, I stopped taking them, and my mental health has been literally completely fine. They will, like I said, they will pick and poke at you. In my situation, he knew what my mental state was. He knew that these things would make me anxious, number one, because I don't know, it was like a tick, you know, like it was something that would like eat away at me. So he took that and he ran with it. So in return, that would make me anxious. Literally, like my chest, if you have anxiety, you already know, like my chest got really tight, and it was just like, you're overly like, in that moment, you're just like, oh my God, like, can I catch a break? But you can't, because this is exactly what they want. And it's disgusting that people are like this. Knowing that something like the silent treatment is extremely unhealthy, and making sure that you know in your mind that, hey, what the silent treatment thing that you're doing, I know that it's unhealthy, and I'm going to tell you that it's unhealthy. Watch their behavior. Literally watch their behavior. And it's so weird and creepy, and I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but in my next one, I think I'm going to do a video on narcissist, because my ex was a narcissist, and if you know, you know. That's a whole nother thing. It's like they change, it's like their mask. That's as simple as I can like put it, is they have different masks with different people, and they like interchange them. And when you get close to them, you start to realize, oh wait, they're not being this way with me, you know. Like, it's the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. I cannot tell you, I literally have chills because it creeps me out. It's so disgusting, like, that people are really like this. And this is coming from me, somebody who's extremely loving and caring, and just want to see people do good, and would never want this to ever happen to anybody. It creeps me the fuck out. But I'm happy that, in a sense, I went through it, because I can now share these, you know, share what I know with you guys. Another thing that an emotionally abusive person does is they can be very passive aggressive, and that is with anything. So they will say little things here and there that aren't full-blown insults to you necessarily, but it's little jabs that they will take at you constantly. A lot of the time it is hurtful things that like kind of sting, and you're like, okay, you know, and kind of like scuff at it, like, what? But it's not a full-blown insult. Then they will totally act like it's not that big of a deal. So like if they say something hurtful to you that was just like a little like, I can't believe you just said that to me, they will then in return tell you, well, you're just being way too sensitive. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. That in itself is emotional abuse. Another thing that they do is discard your feelings or your opinions, or completely ignore your opinions or what you have to say in general. They will completely just discard everything. An emotional abuser is extremely self-absorbed. Again, remember that they want control over the situation. So a lot of the times they might hear your opinion or what you have to say, but they aren't necessarily processing what you just said to them. People cannot sit in a space for anyone. So you telling them, hey, I feel like you were really rude to me, in return, they are going to get extremely defensive, and that is a huge thing that is so unhealthy. Now, this goes into the next part of what I'm going to be talking about, and that is validating somebody's feelings. Whether you, as a healthy person, we can validate other people's feelings. If I say something that my friend thinks is offensive or I hurt their feelings, obviously, me being a healthy person, I'm going to apologize to them, and I'm going to, say, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to offend you. I will not do that again, and we will move on with our conversation. An emotional abuser, people that are unhealthy, will say, what you just said to me was really rude and it hurt my feelings. Will, one, get extremely defensive. They're always defensive, and my ex was always defensive about every little thing, and I never understood why, because I was not trying to, do anything. I wasn't doing anything for him to get defensive about, but he would. Just keeping that in mind, people cannot validate your feelings, and they have no emotion. They literally do not feel empathy for other people at all. And also validating someone's feelings, whether you think that you were wrong, whether you think what they feel or how they feel isn't right, or you don't understand how they feel, none of that matters. Literally none of that matters. Yeah, it might hurt your ego a little bit, but at the end of the day, when you validate somebody's feelings, that is huge. That's literally huge. It means that you're healthy. You understand that, okay, I don't understand how they feel. I'm not really sure why they're upset, but I'm going to apologize to them and let them know that I am sorry and I won't do this again. A toxic person cannot do that. They won't do that, so really being aware of them not physically being capable of just sitting in a space for you and understanding what they did to you or what they said to you was hurtful, it will never happen. And if it does happen, it will not be sincere. They will do it in kind of like a nonchalant way of an apology. Another thing people may not know that falls under the umbrella of emotional abuse is people ignoring you. A lot on my other social media platforms, Instagram and Snapchat specifically, is because I cannot stand when somebody ignores me. It is definitely a sign of emotional abuse. When you ignore someone, whether we're face to face or maybe we're texting or whatever, you see that I'm either talking to you or I'm texting you, and for whatever reason you take it upon yourself not to respond back to me. Let's just talk about, I guess, physical, like being face to face with somebody. That is definitely a sign of emotional abuse. That person, whoever is ignoring you, they do not respect you in any way, shape, or form, and two, they don't care. They literally could care less about what you have to say. That in itself should make you want to run for the hills. Just know that when they choose to ignore you, they are doing it on purpose. They get a high off of ignoring you because they know that by them ignoring you, you're going to react in a certain way. And your reaction is what they literally live for, which is disgusting. Whoever is doing it, like I said previously, this could be a friend, this could be a family member. It does not always have to be somebody who is in a relationship with you. This person is not looking to be in a mutual relationship. To them, it is a one-way street, and it's strictly only about them. They don't care about you at all. The person is extremely disrespectful, and they have no respect for other people. They also love making excuses for their bad behavior. They will try and justify their bad behavior by telling you X, Y, and Z. Literally, they will try and make excuses and justify them, for instance, because this has happened to me, calling you out of your name, calling me a bitch, you know, literally. This is where everything kind of goes downhill, and it was already going downhill, but this is just like, you know, that roller coaster that has like the really low drop. This is where like you're like tilting, and it's just going all downhill, and it really blows my mind again, and I will continue to say this, how people can really treat other people like this. It really blows my mind, but I have to remember, and you watching this have to remember, that these people were taught this type of behavior. They saw it growing up, or while they were growing up, children, youth, and now it is in their subconscious, and they think that this type of behavior is normal. A lot of the times I would catch myself letting things slide, you know. It's just like, oh, you know, whatever, like he's in a bad mood today, you know, and then I start justifying it. I start making excuses for him, and that in itself is where they have you. As soon as you start doubting yourself, one, you should never doubt yourself. Nobody should ever doubt themselves, because if you know for a fact that you're sure about yourself, the moment, literally the moment you second guess yourself is when they have you. It's when they have you, and it's all a game to them. And if they see that you start second guessing yourself, they're gonna take that and they're gonna run with it. They are literally gonna take it and just run with the whole situation. Brings me to my next point, which is manipulation. Manipulation, like I said earlier, is an abuser's BFF. They shame you for saying no, make you feel bad for not wanting to do whatever it is that they want you to do. They will try and make you feel guilty for not saying yes to whatever it is that you didn't want to do with them, until you cave and give them what it is that they want. They will also start being nasty if the manipulation and guilt didn't work. This is where they will start threatening you, name calling, or any type of verbal abuse. And when you tell them about it, or when you try to confront them, they will say things like, you're too sensitive, I always do this for you, why can't you do this one thing for me? What am I gonna do now if no one's gonna help me? Things like that. This is where the true bullying starts. Emotionally abusive person is a bully. They will nitpick at you, and they will throw jabs at you, and just pick until you literally fall apart, or you cave and give them what they want. But again, that will literally leave you so broken, and it will leave you with a hell of a lot of trauma. Remember that an emotionally abusive person, they are extremely relentless, selfish, and self-absorbed. The last thing that I want to touch on is gaslighting. The simplest way I can explain gaslighting is, let's say something, I'm just going to use the sky is blue, okay? I know, you know that the sky is indeed blue, But for whatever reason, this abuser wants to change my reality. They want to change how I feel about a certain situation. They want to change my mind and tell me the sky is not blue, it is indeed purple. Even though I know that the sky is blue, they are going to do whatever it takes to convince me that the sky is purple. Another example is, say they tell you that, hey, this person got into a car accident, and you will be like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Like, you know, I hope that they're okay, da da da. Fast forward 2 weeks, you ask that person, hey, how is so-and-so? You know, I remember you told me that they were in an accident. They will literally look you dead in your face and tell you that they never said that. Literally, they will do it. And my ex did this all the time, literally. Or something so simple as, say I buy 2 chocolate milks and I put them in the refrigerator. I know that when I went to the store, I bought 2 chocolate milks. When I come home, 1 is gone. They are gonna look me, he would look me in my face and say, no, you didn't get 2, you only got 1. And then I would start second guessing myself and it's like, oh, I could have sworn I got 2. He would literally haggle me into believing I only got 1. That is a form of gaslighting. Those 2 examples are a form of gaslighting. To wrap this all up, definitely do not second guess yourself. If you know that you did something, or if you know if something was said or something was done, you know that in your heart that this thing, no matter what it is, happened, never ever allow someone, never give them the power to try and change how you feel, especially when you know for a fact that this happened. It doesn't matter if they think this or you think that. If you know for a fact that that something happened, that's all that matters. Definitely don't feed into any of their bullshit, because it will literally just end up in an argument. That is also something that they love to do, is they will argue you down and you will literally get so drained. It's not worth it. It really is just not worth it at all. My last little note is that no matter what, you don't have to be in extreme situations to deal with abuse, specifically emotional abuse. It could be something literally so simple. Other cases, it can be something very extreme. Any form of abuse, no matter what it is not okay. Nobody has to tolerate being in an abusive relationship, friendship, no matter what it is. I know some circumstances are different. You might be married to the person, you know, you might have kids with the person, you know, that I can't really speak on because I'm not married and I don't have children. I'm talking about literally just like dating relationships, friendships, family members, you know, those are the type of things you snip that right in the fucking butt. I'm so, now that I have dealt with it, now that I know these things that I've just shared with you guys, I will not tolerate any of it. As soon as the first sign of it, I snip. I literally cut people off, because nobody has to go through it. Nobody has to deal with it. Just remember that it's not you, it's literally them. These people are sick and they are mentally not well. It has nothing to do with you. 9 times out of 10, if you are in an emotionally abusive relationship, it is your abuser's fault, and they will tell you all day, and they will try and tell everybody around them, it was her, she did this, 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 and this. And everybody around them, especially if it's their friends and if it's their friend's family, everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, I could totally see it was her. I am sharing this information with you guys because I think it's important to talk about, and also I do want to share my story because I think it's important, and it's disgusting that people like the people I've dated in the past exist, and they seek people out who are loving and caring and regular human beings, and they choose to put them through hell, and it is extremely, extremely disgusting. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little spiel. Sorry if I was like looking down a lot. I did take quite a bit of notes. Like I said, these are my personal notes from my session. But definitely give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this type of video or are coming, because like I said, I really want to spread awareness on these topics. I think they are important and they should be definitely talked about more, because I know for a fact, I know people to this day who are staying in a relationship because they're either getting manipulated into staying in that relationship or gaslighted to stay in the relationship. They're being guilt tripped into staying in a relationship or a friendship with somebody. And I think that is straight bullshit. Nobody, literally nobody is worth risking your mental health, because in the long run, you are definitely going to regret not leaving that situation a lot sooner. I know, I've been there, so that's why I can speak on it. Leave me a comment down below. If you guys can relate to anything I shared, leave me a comment down below. Share it with someone you think could benefit from it. Follow me on my social medias. I will have everything listed down below. And until next time, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.